down goes the reigning champion. It was game, set and match, Kyrgios. He defeats Medvedev in a shocking 3-set victory. I don't think this turned out how anybody expected. Even if you predicted Kyrgios would win, the nature of the win was remarkable. So let's get into the key reasons which led Kyrgios to the victory. I've just been on holiday, but it's great to be back and covering the Canadian Open, such a massive tournament for all you guys. So, my name's Henry Tui, welcome to Matchday Breakdowns, and subscribe if you love tennis. Now, I'm so close to 100 subscribers now, on 98 I think, and I would love to hit triple digits. But let's get into it, and start off with the serve-return dynamic. Now, this was always going to be the make or break factor in this match. It was Kyrgios' elite serve versus Medvedev's elite returning. Medvedev holds such a deep return position well behind the baseline, and that allows him a lot more time to hit his returns deep near the feet of Kyrgios. And we really saw this disturb Kyrgios at the Australian Open this year, as Kyrgios really struggled in his service games, as he had to hit so many more balls as so many came back in play, and it really frustrated him and led to lots and lots of errors. But in this match, Kyrgios really responded positively and exploited the weaknesses in Medvedev's return style. So firstly, Medvedev has to work out of his deep defensive position into a neutral position. He needs some time to work his way up the court nearer the baseline, which is where he wants to be for the rallies. And this means that in the first few balls of the rally, if Nick was aggressive, which he was in this match, he could keep Medvedev in this back foot and never let him recover. Kyrgios could keep on his pressure and dictate play. And secondly, once again, with how deep Medvedev is, it really exposes him to the serve and volley, which Nick Kyrgios used extensively in this match, and he's been using it with great success in this tournament and his ones in weeks prior. And even though Medvedev has elite movement on a hard court, he really struggled to reach any of them because Kyrgios has such good hands. But we will get into more of that later, as he did implement it with great success. But he did find less joy returning Medvedev's serve, but not by a lot by the end of the match. He does have a complete opposite returning style to Medvedev. So as I said, Medvedev stays deep, gives himself plenty of time to read where the serve is going. And Kyrgios has a very highly predictive style. He guesses which way the ball will go and kind of commits to that side. But I don't know what it was in this match. It really felt like Kyrgios did get quite a good read on Medvedev's serve, and he was guessing a lot correctly towards the end of the match. And especially with the kind of shaky serving performance from Medvedev, his ball toss was a bit off during this whole match. Not sure what's happening with that. But for the early portions of the match, both served exceptionally well and could hardly make a dent in each other's serve. And now let's go on to the physicality of the match. I thought this would be a big issue for Kyrgios heading into this match. Both came into this having won a tournament the week before. Kyrgios won Washington and Medvedev won Los Cabos. Just as a little side note, Kyrgios also won the doubles in Washington and the doubles in Atlanta the week before that, so he's played a lot of tennis. And I thought this would play a much bigger factor for Kyrgios than Medvedev, because Kyrgios isn't known for his endurance, but he is proving it a lot more this season, especially reaching the final of Wimbledon, obviously a 5-set tournament. But in the first set especially, it never got very physical because of how short the games were. I think Kyrgios had a 47-second game and a 48-second game back-to-back, which was ridiculous. But his tactics were impeccable, the serve and volley, which we will get into more later. But there were signs that Kyrgios was breaking down in the first set, even though the match had not become very taxing yet. He had a minor injury to his back in Atlanta, where he played the doubles, but he withdrew from the singles. And today, at moments, he seemed to be stretching it out and in discomfort. But in the first set, it didn't look like it was affecting him too much, at least. But both eventually got into trouble in the first set. I think perhaps it was the pressure of serving to stay in the set, which led it to Medvedev. As in the 4-5 game, his form suddenly dipped. And his machine-like consistency he'd been finding on his serve went away. And as I said earlier, his toss was all over the place. And he was leaking unforced errors and double faults. But in the same breath, every break point he found a really clutch first serve to take it all away and claw his way out of trouble. It seemed like a bit of nerves were coming into his game, and I think having got through it, it did calm it a bit and boost his confidence. But with how the other 2 sets go, I can't be sure. But in the very next game, there's trouble for Kyrgios. Kyrgios gave away 2 double faults and some errors, and started to become very telegraphed on his serve. Not the placement of his serves, but the placement of himself, because this is where he really started to almost exclusively serve and volley. This is when he it was the light bulb moment of the serve and volley is working almost every time I use it, so he just kept on using it. But he did manage to just claw his way out of that game, and it went to a tiebreak. There are very fine margins at a tiebreak, and a few points either way can swing the whole thing. And this time it swung the way of the world number 1. It was squeaky clean from Medvedev, and the complete opposite for Kyrgios. Kyrgios gifted errors and gave Medvedev way too many looks at his second serve, and Medvedev took the tiebreak 7-2 and the set 7-6. But heading into the third, out of the blocks, it was a complete turnaround. It was Medvedev's turn to play quite a loose game, and it was like a switch was flicked in Kyrgios' mind as he raised his level seemingly out of nowhere. He started to take the ball on the rise a lot more than he already was, and he was really looking to rush Medvedev and take time away from the world number 1. Kyrgios did this exceptionally, and Medvedev just had no answers for the second set completely. He just really caught Medvedev cold in the second set, and Medvedev was broken in the first game. But now's a good time to bring up the serve and volley tactics again. Kyrgios in the second and third set was using it almost exclusively, and it was working unbelievably well. Medvedev consistently struggles with passing shots as his ground strokes are so flat. This does keep the ball quite low, but he just has no real spin to dip the ball further and make the volleys exceptionally difficult. And with how good Kyrgios' hands are, only a brilliant passing shot will do, especially in the form he was in this match, as he was just picking them off at the net. Medvedev hadn't found a solution in the second set, and that one slip-up, that one break at the first game was all it took. Kyrgios served out the second set with relative ease and levelled the match to 1-all. Now heading into the third set, Kyrgios came through a tough hold of the 0-1 game, but for the first time looked really exhausted. Some massive first serves helped him out in the end, which really got him over the line in that game, but it really looked like he had nothing left. The fire had gone out of his feet and his footwork had kind of went away. He wasn't as stable or balanced for any of his shots, really. And it seemed that all the tennis he'd played over the couple of weeks caught up to him. As I said, his success in Atlanta and Washington. And these starting to become more extended rallies with Medvedev had taken its toll. But as I said, he leant on his clutch first serves and volleys to take him out of trouble. But with his legs seemingly fading, the question was, would he have the lungs to last the full set? Keep his legs driving up for the serve and stay on his toes for his serve and volley. But then out of absolutely nowhere, he broke. I couldn't believe it. I was just, making my notes for this match, and I saw it was 40-15 to Medvedev, and all of a sudden it seemed that Kyrgios had broken. As I said, from 40-15 up, Kyrgios clawed his way back, and he did take the second break chance he had. Seemingly from the dead, he rose up and came up with some unbelievable shots, in particular a stunning backhand pass to seal the break. He then consolidated this break with his first easy hold of the third set, and he never slowed down from there. It was unbelievable. And as Kyrgios didn't slow down, Medvedev absolutely did. At the 2-4 game, the question was, where did Medvedev go? He double faulted and had hit 2 unforced errors to give Kyrgios a triple break point, and there was no clawing out of it that time. Kyrgios took his third chance and secured the double break, and from then on, it was game, set and match. And it was just such an unbelievable turnaround. From the first game of the third set, I was thinking, oh, Kyrgios' tank is empty. And Medvedev completely fell apart, and Kyrgios just managed to claw his way through, leaning on his serves. And I think Medvedev just got frustrated by that. He saw his opponent he sensed the blood in the water, but couldn't capitalise. And I assume he was already frustrated by being broken. But either way, what a turnaround. And now, overall, this is only Kyrgios' second win over a world number 1. And it's safe to say he has never played at this high level, this consistency in his whole career, and he will be a threat at every tournament he plays in from now on. What a level he played, and what serving that he found today. He either faces de Minaur or Dimitrov in the next round, and I do hope he has the energy for this tournament, because he looks unbreakable and unstoppable, but if the body permits him to play. He extended his lead 3-1 in the head-to-head, and is now 1-1 in 2022. But that wraps up my analysis. I really hope you enjoyed. A lot of work goes into these matches, so subscribing would mean the world. As I said, I'm really close to 100 now. But I've been your host, Henry Tui. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, guys.